The most successful CEO I have ever coached, 3,000 employees, $2.3 billion in revenue, told me something in our very first session that I have never forgotten. He said, "Silas, I have built everything I ever wanted, and I lose my mind every single morning." He wasn't talking about a breakdown. He was talking about the first 20 minutes after his alarm fires, the scroll, the fog, the pile of demands that stacks before he's taken a single intentional breath, the feeling of already being behind before the day has even started. Sound familiar? Here is what I told him, and what I am about to tell you. You do not have a discipline problem. You do not have a motivation problem. You have a biology problem, and biology has a 4-minute solution, validated at Stanford, used by the top 1% of performers globally that will change the first hour of your day permanently. By the time this video ends, you will have the exact protocol, the exact science, and the exact system to make this your permanent operating state. But first, take a breath with me, because that is exactly what this channel is built on. We take the breath so we can grow the life. That is not a tagline. Today, it is a biological instruction, and you are about to understand why in a way that will stay with you long after this video ends. Let's go. The morning that's quietly costing you. I want to walk you through a morning. Not yours, but close enough that you'll feel it. Alarm at 6 a.m. The intention was good. You were going to wake up, drink water, get centered, maybe journal, maybe meditate. Instead, within 4 minutes, your thumb is on your phone. 12 notifications from overnight, an email from a colleague that reads passive-aggressive in any font, a news headline that makes your stomach drop, and a Slack message that is technically not urgent, but your brain has already categorized it as a 5-alarm fire. You are now in reactive mode, and you haven't even stood up yet. Here's the part the wellness industry is not telling you. The problem is not the phone. The problem is not the notifications. The problem is what your nervous system does with them in that specific window, the first 20 minutes after waking. During sleep, your prefrontal cortex, the executive command center of your brain, the part responsible for strategic thinking, impulse control, long-range planning, and emotional regulation, is in a state of gradual reactivation. It takes approximately 45 minutes to 2 hours for full prefrontal engagement to come fully online. Neuroscientists call this sleep inertia. Your brain is literally booting up, and you are flooding it with data before the operating system is loaded. Every notification in that window lands directly in your amygdala, your brain's threat detection center. And your amygdala does not distinguish between a predator and a passive-aggressive email. Stress is stress, threat is threat. So it does what it is wired to do. It activates, heart rate climbs, cortisol floods your bloodstream, your body shifts into survival mode. Here is the number that should make you stop and think. Research from the University of California, Irvine found that once a professional enters a distracted or reactive state, it takes an average of 23 minutes to return to full depth concentration. 23 minutes! Every single morning before you've made a single real decision, you are burning nearly half an hour of your peak cognitive window. Multiply that by 250 working days a year. That is nearly 96 hours of your highest quality thinking gone. Not to laziness, not to bad work ethic, to a 4-minute window you have never been taught to protect. This is not a productivity problem. This is a timing problem. And once you understand the timing, everything changes. Now, I have to say something that may be uncomfortable, and I am saying it because I think you deserve the truth more than you deserve comfort. The 90-minute morning routine is not a solution. For most high performers, it has become an additional source of stress. Think about the last time you completed your full routine. Every piece of it, every meditation session, every cold plunge, every journal page, every workout, every healthy breakfast. How long ago was that? For most of the executives I work with, the answer is weeks, sometimes months, and every single morning that the routine goes incomplete, the nervous system logs it as a failure, as a deficit. The ritual that was supposed to energize you has become a measuring stick for how far behind you already are before 8 a.m. That is not high performance. That is high maintenance. Here is what the science actually says the most effective morning intervention looks like. Not 90 minutes, not 45 minutes, not even 20 minutes of guided meditation. The research points to a single, specific 4-minute biological intervention that overrides your stress response on the neurological level and delivers the same measurable outcome as 20 minutes of traditional mindfulness in 1/5 of the time. The world's top performers are not doing more in the morning. They're doing one precise thing at the exact biological moment when it creates maximum impact. Let me show you the science. If you've stayed with me this far, I want to acknowledge something. The people who make it to this point in the video are exactly the people this is designed for. You're not here for hype. You're here because something in what I'm describing resonates with a gap that you have been living in for a long time. What I'm about to give you is the map out of it. Here is what is actually happening inside your skull during a fragmented morning. Your amygdala, that threat detection center, does not operate on logic. It operates on pattern recognition. When your cortisol baseline is elevated from chronic stress, accumulated sleep debt, or unresolved demands from the previous day, your amygdala wakes up already primed, already scanning, already in early warning mode. In that state, a part of your brainstem called the locus coeruleus begins releasing norepinephrine, the chemical that narrows your attentional focus to immediate threats. This is your brain's way of keeping you safe, but it also makes you incapable of zooming out, of thinking 3 months ahead, of making the high-leverage decisions that your role demands. You're trying to run a long-range strategic operation on a brain that currently believes it is being chased. And here is the insight that changes everything. You cannot think your way out of a physiological state. No amount of positive self-talk, visualization, or motivational audio will override a nervous system that has been biochemically set to alarm.
The only way out is through the body, through a direct biological input. And the most precisely effective biological input ever documented for this specific purpose is the controlled breathing pattern identified and validated in Dr. Andrew Huberman's lab at Stanford University. When your stress response activates, your breathing naturally becomes shallow and fast. Shallow breathing causes carbon dioxide to accumulate in the bloodstream. Elevated CO2 signals your brainstem to maintain high arousal, to keep the alarm system running. It is a biological feedback cycle that keeps you locked in the reactive state. The Stanford protocol interrupts that cycle at its source in 4 minutes. Let me show you exactly how. The exact Stanford physiological reset. The double inhale. Sit upright. Through your nose, take 1 full, deep breath in. Fill your lungs to capacity. Then, without releasing any air, take a second sharp sniff through your nose, a quick burst. Your lungs are now fuller than a single inhale would allow. That second sniff is doing something specific. During prolonged stress, the small air sacs deep in your lungs, the alveoli, partially collapse. Collapsed alveoli cannot exchange gases efficiently. Specifically, they trap carbon dioxide rather than releasing it. The second sniff physically reinflates those alveoli, reopening the gas exchange surface. You are not just breathing, you are mechanically resetting your internal CO2 regulation system right now, in real time. Step 2, the extended exhale. Now exhale, completely, through your mouth, slowly. The exhale should take roughly twice as long as the combined 2-part inhale. Let everything release. Your shoulders, your jaw, the muscles across your chest and abdomen. Here is the neuroscience of why this works. Your heart rate and your breathing are neurologically coupled. When you inhale, your diaphragm drops, your thoracic cavity expands, and your heart rate increases fractionally. When you exhale, the reverse. Heart rate drops. The longer and more complete the exhale, the more pronounced that drop. That decrease in heart rate sends a direct signal through the vagus nerve, the main highway of your parasympathetic nervous system. When the vagus nerve receives this signal, it broadcasts a systemic message: threat over, stand down. Cortisol pathways begin to quiet. The amygdala receives the all clear, and your prefrontal cortex, your executive command center, begins drawing full power again.
In the Stanford studies, participants who practiced this specific pattern for 4 minutes showed measurable increases in heart rate variability, the gold standard clinical marker of nervous system resilience, compared to participants who used only standard deep breathing or traditional mindfulness. The double inhale is not arbitrary. It is the specific mechanical difference that makes this protocol work faster than anything else in the literature. Step 3, the 4-minute cadence. Rounds 1 and 2 go slowly. Feel your body physically shift. Most people notice a change in jaw tension and shoulder position within the first 2 minutes. That's parasympathetic activation beginning. Round 3 through 6 settle into a rhythm. Inhale, sharp sniff, long exhale. Let the rhythm become automatic. Let your mind follow your breath rather than the other way around. By minute 3, you are no longer reacting to your morning, you're building it. By minute 4, your nervous system is in executive state. Your prefrontal cortex is operating at capacity. Your cortisol baseline has dropped, and the decisions you are about to make, the first strategic choices of your day, are being made from clarity rather than alarm. If you're absorbing this right now and thinking, this is the thing I have been missing, you're right. And you can start tomorrow morning. No equipment, no experience, no 90-minute window required. Just 4 minutes before your phone, before your first demand, before the world makes its first claim on your attention. Take the breath. The life grows from there. Permitting this with the God Mode performance system. Now, let me be direct with you about something. The 4-minute reset is the lever, but a lever without the rest of the machine produces inconsistent results. The executives I coach who see permanent, compounding performance shifts, the ones who tell me 6 months later that their cognitive output has genuinely changed, are not just doing the breathing protocol. They've built it into a larger system, a system that removes willpower from the equation entirely. Because here's the hard truth about willpower. It's the most expensive resource you have, and it depletes before 9 a.m. for most professionals. The only sustainable path to consistent high performance is systematic automation, not grit, architecture. This is the foundation of my high-performance executive coaching program and the God Mode framework. It operates on 3 layers. Layer 1 is the biological floor. This is the 4-minute Stanford reset anchored as a non-negotiable pre-launch protocol. In the program, we build the exact environmental design, lighting, posture position, the specific pre-alarm structure that makes the reset automatic rather than aspirational. The goal is that your body initiates the protocol before your conscious mind has even decided to. Layer 2, the cognitive architecture. The prefrontal cortex operates at its highest executive capacity within the first 2 to 3 hours after full waking. This window is your most valuable professional asset. Most high performers are spending it on email and reactive communication, effectively paying for their highest leverage cognitive hours with their lowest leverage tasks. In the program, we redesign your first 90 minutes of deep work around this biology. Your highest stakes decisions, your most complex problem solving, your most important creative output, all moved into the window when your brain is operating at its architectural peak. Layer 3 is the compounding cadence. This is where results stack exponentially. We build weekly review architecture, quarterly cognitive recalibration checkpoints, and specific performance anchors, cues, and rituals distributed throughout your week that return you to your peak state the moment entropy begins to pull you back toward reactivity. Inside the program, you gain access to my full digital resource vault, guided audio versions of the reset protocol, the God Mode scheduling template, decision architecture frameworks, and the complete neuro-performance library I have built across hundreds of hours of executive coaching. The goal is not that you need me indefinitely. The goal is that you build an operating system so reliable, so specific to your biology and your schedule, that elite cognitive performance stops being your best days and starts being your default.
That is the identity shift, from someone who occasionally performs at their peak to someone who has engineered their peak as the floor. The 2 futures, your decision right now.
I want to stop giving you information for a moment and talk to you directly, because we have covered a lot of ground today, and I want to make sure the only thing that matters, the action you take in the next 5 minutes, is completely clear. There are 2 versions of you that exist on the other side of this video. Version 1. You close this screen. The breathing protocol was interesting. Maybe you even try it tomorrow morning. It works, you feel the shift, and then 3 days later, 4 days later, a week later, the phone wins the morning back. The routine slips, the brain fog returns. Not because you lack discipline, because you never built a system around the biology. And 6 months from now, you are sitting in the same bottleneck, the same ceiling, the same gap between what you're capable of and what your mornings actually produce. Version 2. You take one action in the next 60 seconds, just one. You download the free God Mode Starter Guide. Link is in the description right now. It is 4 pages. It contains the complete breathing protocol laid out step by step, the 3-layer morning architecture, and your first 7 days of implementation prompts. Tomorrow morning, before the phone, you run the protocol, you feel the biological shift, and for the first time, possibly in years, your first hour of the day belongs entirely to your highest ambitions. And if you are at the point in your career where you know that the ceiling you keep reaching is a systems problem and not a talent problem, the link below also has the booking page for a 30-minute strategy call with my team. It is not a sales pitch, it is a diagnostic. You will leave with 3 specific, actionable changes to your morning architecture, whether we work together or not. I want to close with the thing that matters most. Not the science, not the protocol, not even the results. The thing that matters most is this: the morning that belongs to you, entirely to you, before the world's demands arrive, is 4 minutes away. Every single day, without exception, regardless of your schedule, your time zone, your industry, or how complicated yesterday was. 4 minutes. Before the phone, before the email, before the first ask from anyone who needs something from you. You take the breath, and the life grows from there. I am Dr. Silas Kincaid. If this shifted something for you today, hit subscribe right now, because what I'm releasing next is the decision-making framework elite performers use inside their God Mode window. The first 90 minutes of deep work, and it will make today's protocol twice as powerful. The link is right there. The guide is free. Your next morning is tomorrow. I will see you in it.